Welcome back to the TBC podcast. If you like these deep dives, hit that subscribe button and give us a like. It really helps other bookworms find the show. And yeah, today we're going to jump into Real Americans by Rachel Khong. It's a story about a Chinese-American family, across 3 generations. But it's so much more than just a family saga. It really digs into some, big questions about identity, about belonging, and, what it even means to chase the American dream. So imagine this. Okay, New York City. It's the eve of the millennium, like Y2K. Remember all that anxiety about computers crashing and everything? That's the world that Lily Chen is living in. She's this young professional trying to make it in media, figuring out love and ambition in a city that, never sleeps. But then, Khong throws in this other layer. We meet Lily's son, Nick. It's 2021 now, and he's growing up on this, remote island with his single mom, always feeling the absence of his father, and Nick's journey to, uncover his roots through a DNA test. It becomes this powerful metaphor for searching for identity, especially in a world obsessed with labels and categories. And just when you think you've got a handle on things. Khong takes us back to the 1960s. We meet Lily's mother, May, Joyce, this brilliant geneticist who had to flee China during the Cultural Revolution. But May's story isn't just about survival. It's about the compromises we make for a better life. So now I might be thinking, okay, 3 different characters, 3 different timelines. How does it all connect? Well, that's where Khong's brilliance comes in. She uses these individual stories to dissect the American dream, that promise of opportunity and success that's so ingrained in our culture. And through Lily, Nick, and May, we see how that dream can be so alluring, but also elusive. It can uplift you, but it can also really disappoint. Makes you wonder, what does the American dream even mean in a world where technology is rewriting the rules of life itself? And May's work as a geneticist adds this whole other dimension to the story. I mean, she's involved in an experiment that could actually alter human genetics, which raises some pretty big ethical questions, are we playing God? And who gets to decide what the future of humanity looks like? Heavy stuff, right?
Yeah, you know what really gets me about Real Americans? It's how Kong doesn't just throw these ethical questions at you as abstract ideas. She makes them real by showing them through the characters' lives, like May's decision to join that genetic experiment. It's not just some, cold scientific ambition. It comes from her own tough experiences. Her wanting to protect her daughter from going through what she did. But even good intentions can backfire.
Right? It's life's not a simple equation. You can't just engineer away suffering. There are always going to be trade-offs and consequences you don't see coming. And sometimes trying to control the future just creates new problems you never even thought of.
Exactly. And that whole struggle between wanting control and life being unpredictable, that's at the heart of the book. Look at Nick searching for his father. He's using DNA technology, this tool that's supposed to unlock the secrets of his past. But what he finds is way more complicated than a simple answer. It makes him question who he is, makes him face the messy reality of family and inheritance, and the stories we tell ourselves about where we come from.
It's like he's holding up a mirror to our obsession with identity. In a world of social media and online personas, we're always trying to define ourselves, fit into these neat little boxes. But Real Americans suggest that identity isn't fixed. It's fluid. It changes. It's shaped by things we can and can't control.
And that's where the book's exploration of the immigrant experience gets really powerful. May's journey from China to America. It shows resilience and determination. But it's also a story of loss, the sacrifices she makes, the cultural identity she leaves behind. It makes you question the real cost of the American dream. Is assimilation freedom, or is it erasure? And how do we honor our heritage while embracing new possibilities?
It's like Kong is asking us to think about the hidden costs of belonging. What are we willing to give up to fit in? And can we be successful without losing ourselves? These are questions that go beyond the immigrant experience. They tap into this universal human need for connection, for a sense of place in the world.
And that's why Lily's story is so relatable. Even if you haven't lived her exact life, she's a young woman trying to figure out love, ambition, societal expectations in a world that's changing so fast. Her observation about all the interracial relationships, especially between Asian women and white men, it's really striking. It makes you think about how societal norms and cultural messages can shape our desires, even our most personal choices.
It's like she's saying that even our romantic preferences aren't formed in a vacuum. They're influenced by the stories we hear, the images we see. And sometimes we take in those messages without even realizing it. It's kind of unsettling, isn't it? To think that our sense of self might be more easily influenced than we'd like to admit.
Yeah, it is unsettling. It really challenges that whole idea of like the self-made person. You know, that American dream myth that we're all in control of our destiny. Real Americans kind of argues that our choices, even the ones that feel really personal, are shaped by forces bigger than us. Like it could be our genes, our background, the messages we get from society. We're never really acting in a vacuum, you know?
And that's where the whole genetic engineering thing gets really freaky. It takes the whole, like, free will versus destiny debate to a whole new level. If we can change our genes, are we basically deciding the future? Like, are we taking away the possibility of choice, of making our own path?
Yeah, that's the big question, isn't it? And Krong didn't give you any easy answers, but she's brilliant at making you feel the weight of those questions. Like May's decision to be part of that experiment, it's not shown as like some evil thing. It comes from love. You know, her wanting to protect her child from pain. But it also brings up the idea of unintended consequences. That even doing something good can have unexpected and maybe even bad results.
It's like that whole Pandora's box thing. We keep pushing the limits of what's possible, creating new technology that's supposed to fix our problems and make our lives better. But what happens when that technology starts messing with what it means to be human? Where do we draw the line?
Yeah, that's the ethical tightrope we're walking as a society. And Real Americans makes us face this uncomfortable truth that progress isn't always a straight line. It can come with a price. And sometimes that price is paid in human suffering. The book makes us think about what we're willing to sacrifice for a better future, and if that future is even something we want.
So if you want a book that'll make you question everything you thought you knew about identity belonging to the American dream, Real Americans is the one. It's a story that stays with you long after you finish it.